Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. I have just finished spinning up some homespun wool that I want to knit into a test swatch. So I thought this would be a really good opportunity to do a how to knit video. I'm still very much bunged up, as you can probably hear. I still have quite a bad cold, but I'll edit out as much coughing and sneezing as possible. And I thought what we'll do is, because I'm just knitting up a test swatch, I'll show you how to cast on, how to knit a few rows, and then how to cast off. And in the next video, because I'll be doing a few more on this, I'll show you how to do the purl stitch and how to combine knit and purl stitches to create different effects, etc. But for this one, just a really simple, basic knit every row. And we'll create a test swatch with this wool that I have just finished spinning, which I don't know if you can see, but it's got some really nice sparkles in. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. If you want to know more about spinning, then do keep an eye on my channel. I have already uploaded one spinning video, but I will be uploading more, and I'll be showing you how I create this yarn as well. So, if I do know a few of my viewers do already know how to knit. However, the way I knit is slightly different to most of the ways on YouTube that I've seen. I knit in a more continental style. I was taught by a left-hander. So if you're left-handed, you might find this easier. Or if you just want to learn a different way of knitting that might be slightly faster. Even as a right-hander, I find this faster than knitting in the American or even the English method. So the first thing you're going to want to do is find the end of your yarn, which I have here. Create a loop around your finger like so. Now this is going to be a bit awkward to show you, so hopefully this will focus. So you want to loop it around your finger like this. So you have a little loop there. Bring the tail end of your loop underneath, like so. And then you want to get your needle and slide it underneath, over the top of this bit of the yarn, underneath, and then over the top again. And then keeping hold of that tail, pull it tight, and that has created a slip knot on your needle. Okay, that's the first bit of casting on. We're going to cast on 10 stitches, so this counts as your first stitch. So take hold of your yarn. I like to loop it over my little finger like that, and then take hold of it here like that. Slide this up near the top to make it easier. And then what you want to do is, holding the yarn here, you wrap it around your finger, okay, like that. Bring your needle up. So you're creating a loop around your finger. Bring your needle up, slide it underneath. So you're sliding the loop onto the needle, pull tight. Don't pull too tight, but pull it so it's secure on the needle. So let's do that again. Loop it around your finger. Bring your needle up. Push it through the loop, slide the loop onto your needle, tighten. And again, round the finger, slide the needle through, slide the loop onto the needle, and tighten. I'm going to do this so we've got until we have 10 stitches on the needle. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 'Oh, we've lost the focus. 10. Okay. I'm just going to wait for it to focus on the needle again. There we go. Okay. So you can ignore this little bit down here that'll get knitted into the knitting as you go through the loops. So there we go. So I've got 10 stitches now cast onto my needle. I'm now going to teach you how to do the knit stitch, which is the simplest, most basic stitch when it comes to knitting. So, hold the needle in your left hand or your right hand, depending on which side you prefer. I was taught by a left-hander, so I hold mine in my left hand, even though I'm right-handed. It all depends on what you prefer and how you prefer to do it. Take hold of the yarn, and again, I like to wrap it around my little finger, and then I can use my hand to tension or keep it loose. Sometimes I wrap it around my top finger as well, just to get a little bit of extra tension. It just depends on how much tension I want. It all depends on practice. You might find it easier to wrap it around your finger first to make sure you've got that constant tension, but try not to make it too tight. You don't want to be too tight of a knitter. Okay. So once you have your stitches ready to knit, you need to take your right hand needle, and you are wanting to slip your needle into the back of the stitch. I just want to make sure this is all focused. There we go. Into the back of the stitch, so up from the back, like that. So you're pushing your needle through the loop from the back, so your needles are crossed like that. Okay. Then take the yarn in your hand and wrap the yarn or loop the yarn over the top of the needle like that. You might find it easier to put your finger on top of it just to keep it in place whilst you do the next bit, which is to bring the needle back through the loop, keeping that loop that you've just put on this needle on the needle. So you're bringing it back through the loop and then sliding the original stitch off. It's kind of difficult to explain, so we'll do it again. Needle in from the back, loop over, pull through, and slide off. In from the back, over the top, pull it through, slide the original off. Once more, in from the back, loop over, pull it through, and you want to make sure that when you come through, you don't come through over the top like this. And it focuses again. You don't come over the top like this, you go underneath the original loop. So that's the original loop there, and that's the loop that you've just created. And slide the original loop off that needle. So, in from the back, loop over, and slide off. Okay. We've got a couple more stitches, so we'll just finish off this row. And of course you'll end up being really quick at this. Okay, and that is your first row of knit stitches done. Okay, so we're going to continue on, and we're going to continue doing knit stitches. So we're just doing the same stitch on every single row. So to do the next row, put your needle with your stitches back in your left hand, your working needle in your right hand, and we carry on doing exactly the same thing. So wrap your yarn around your fingers, needle in from the back, loop over, pull through, you might find it easier to do if you push the knitting up to the top of the needles. Don't push it too far because you don't want it to fall off. But if you push it up to the top of the needle, then it's easier for you to slide those stitches off. Okay, so I have my swatch all knitted now. You can see each row. If I bring it up to the lens, it should hopefully focus. There we go. Each row has like 2 little bumps, and it's the same on both sides. This stitch is called garter stitch, and this is just created as we've done by doing a knit stitch on every single row. I'll talk about stockinette stitch when we do the purling video. But this is probably the most simple type of stitch that you can do, and it's really effective actually. So now we are going to cast off, and I'm going to show you how to cast off in the knit stitch. Again, I'll talk about different forms of cast off when we do different stitches, but yeah, we are going to now cast off, and that will complete our little swatch. So very, very simple, very, very easy to do. And all you need to do is, just as if you were going to knit the next row, do exactly the same as you would normally do. Just knit the first stitch. So remember, in from the back, loop over, pull it through, pull the stitch off. Then knit the second stitch. In from the back, loop over, pull it through, slide the stitch off. And here's where it changes from doing a normal knit row. What you need to do is take this needle, ignore the first stitch on your needle, and go to the second stitch and slide it. See if I can do this. Focus. Come on, camera. There you go. Slide it over the top of that first stitch and off your needle, so you still have the second stitch that you did, if you like, on your needle. Do that again on this stitch, so do another knit, stitch, over, slide that stitch off. You want to keep this one on your needle and pull this one off. If you don't like using the needles to do this, you can use your fingers, so you would just take hold of that stitch. Keep hold of that one there so it doesn't move off, and slide that back stitch off your needle. So again, create another knit stitch, slide that back stitch over the top of the front stitch, and off the needle. Just waiting for the focus to catch up. There we go. So another knit stitch. Slide the back stitch over the top of the front stitch and off the needle. And you keep doing this all the way down. Whilst waiting for the camera to focus. So create the knit stitch, in from the back, loop over, pull the stitch through, slide the stitch off, go back to this stitch, slide it over the top of that stitch, keep hold of that one, and off the needle. Okay, we're going to do it one more time. Create the knit stitch. Keep this stitch on the needle. So keep this stitch on the needle, slide this one off. So remember, oops, so you can see, over the top of that stitch, over the top of that stitch, and off the needle. And you do this one more time. So for the last stitch, this stitch comes over the top of this one. Keep hold of that stitch if you can. There we go. Keep hold of that stitch and pull that one off the needle. So now at the end of it, you should just have one stitch left on the needle. You can now just pull that so you have a really large loop. So you just take what's left of the yarn, slide that through the loop, and then just tighten it so it becomes a knot. And that is it. That is your first knitted swatch. The ends are a little bit loose over here. That's just because I was a little bit loose with my cast on. But that is how you do your cast on, your knit stitch, and then your cast off in the end. And I'll show you in the next video how to do a purl stitch and how to cast off in the purl, and we'll talk about other different types of stitches as well. Really hope you enjoyed that. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I shall see you all in the next one. Bye for now.